So in the last video, we looked specifically at square roots. It is true that there are higher order roots. You can see here on the screen, we have something called the cubed root. And so that's going to have a little 3 with the root symbol. We also have something called the fourth root, which is going to have a little 4. Fifth root all the way to, I know this one's hard to read, this is the nth root of a number. The n, or that little, the little number with the root, that we call the index. And so that tells you what kind of root it is. With our square roots, the index squared is implied a 2. We just don't write the 2 because square roots are so common. So it is true that the square root of 9 could be written like that, but because we write the square root so frequently, we leave off the squared and just write it as the square root of 9. But it is true that the index of a square root would be 2. We just don't write them. So let's look at some examples. The principal square root of 144. Remember, principal meant the positive square root of 144. So that says, what number squared is 144? Well, 12 squared is 144. So the principal square root of 144 is 12. The square root of 324. So what we're looking for is what number squared is 324. Well, what you'd have to do is just start going through. 15 squared. Nope, that's too small. 16 squared. Nope, that's too small. And what we can do is we can do the square root of 324, and that gives me out 18. Or we could just start going through 15 squared, too small, 16 squared, oops, too small, 17 squared, all the way, all the way until we got to 18 squared is 324. So the square root of 324 is 18. Again, principal square root. Now this one's interesting. The square root of 1/9. I want us to do it in our calculator and then see where that comes from. So the square root of 1 fraction 9. My graphing calculator people, you can just use the division. Scientific calculator people, you have a fraction button. I get 0.33333. Math enter converts that thing to a fraction of 1/3. And so let's see, why does this give me 1/3? Well, there's a property that you've learned in algebra that says you can rewrite the square root as a fraction as 2 different square root symbols. So what I did is I took the big giant square root and I split it up to the numerator and I split it up to the denominator. And then the square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 9 is 3. And that's where my calculator got out 1/3 from.